Hello? Today we will explore a mysterious disappearance that occurred on a yacht in the Mediterranean. A newlywed couple decided to spend their honeymoon on the yacht, and unexpectedly, the 26-year-old groom went missing during that sweet trip. When the investigation began, many people thought it was an accident, while others suspected it was a murder. So what is the truth behind this incident? Let's dive into the details of this case together. The main character of the story is named George Smith, born in October 1978. George had an open and humorous personality. He was great at communicating and well-liked by his friends. George's family lived in the town of Greenwich, Connecticut, USA. This is one of the wealthiest towns in Connecticut, known for its large and spacious mansions. George's father owned a successful wine shop in the local area, making his family well off. He lived a prosperous life without worrying about basic needs. In 2002, George met a girl named Jennifer Hagel. During their relationship, George was attracted to Jennifer's beauty and cheerful personality. The two quickly fell in love, and after 3 years of dating, George proposed to Jennifer. Their grand wedding was held on June 25, 2005, at Rosecliff Castle in Newport, Rhode Island. The couple was radiant with happiness during the wedding, and friends and family sent their best wishes to them. After the wedding, George planned to take over his father's wine shop, and Jennifer had received her master's degree in education from Roger Williams University. They were both full of hope for a bright future. They then decided to go on a honeymoon cruise to celebrate their happy marriage. The couple was quickly attracted to a Norwegian cruise brand named Royal Caribbean International, established in 1968. This is one of the largest cruise operators in the world. The company aimed at the vast USA market and moved its headquarters to Miami. Royal Caribbean offers many types of cruises with different levels, all of high quality and with unique features. George and his wife chose the cruise ship named Radiance of the Seas. This cruise ship was built in 2002, 292 meters long, 39.8 meters wide, with 13 decks, a displacement of 90,000 tons, and a maximum speed of 25 knots. Radiance of the Seas was built at a cost of $350 million, accommodating over 2,000 passengers and 800 crew members. The ship is equipped with various entertainment amenities, such as a mini golf course, rock climbing wall, casino, dance floor, and swimming pool, making it like a mobile city on the sea. Additionally, the cruise ship was specially designed with a 9-story central area surrounded by glass, outward-facing elevator doors, and most public areas offering beautiful ocean views. Their journey would start from Barcelona, Spain, passing through France, Italy, Greece, and Turkey. The couple was set to enjoy a memorable 12-day honeymoon on the luxurious cruise ship across the Mediterranean. However, no one could have predicted that during this honeymoon trip, the groom George would disappear from the cruise ship forever. So what happened that day? Why did George go missing? On June 29, 2005, that Wednesday, 4 days after George and Jennifer's wedding, the couple flew from Connecticut, USA, to Barcelona, Spain. Here they boarded the luxury yacht named Radiance of the Seas. As the ship slowly left the port of Barcelona, their 12-day honeymoon cruise officially began. George and Jennifer booked cabin number 9062, located on the 9th floor of the yacht. Although the cabin wasn't large, it had a small balcony where they could admire the stunning views of the vast sea. In the following days, the couple leisurely enjoyed their honeymoon life on the yacht. They played by the pool together, enjoyed delicious meals at the restaurant, and took memorable photos that showed their happiness. Like many young couples, their favorite spot was the yacht's bar and casino. They visited it almost daily as a way to relax. When the yacht docked in Greece, the couple disembarked to explore new lands for a short time and felt very excited. In the evening, they continued to go to the bar to drink and then to the casino to play. During their time on the yacht, the couple made new friends, including Paul and Galina. This couple was also newlyweds, married in June of the same year, just like George and Jennifer. The two couples quickly became good friends and often participated in activities on the yacht together. Time passed, and on July 4th, a Friday, they were still on the yacht. After dinner, George and Jennifer invited Paul and Galina to the casino. The two couples sat at the same table and drank a strong liquor called absinthe. In fact, this liquor was not allowed on the yacht, but it was unclear when they had brought it on board. At the casino, besides Paul and Galina, George and Jennifer had 4 other friends they had met on the ship. They were Josh, Rusty, Zach, and Greg, all from the USA. After some time, Paul and Galena said goodbye to George and Jennifer. George continued to play generously at the casino. Even though he lost, he kept withdrawing money to continue playing. Since he wore an expensive Patek Philippe watch, the friends he played with assumed he must be wealthy. The casino's surveillance camera also captured images of George withdrawing money while Jennifer stayed in the casino. After the casino closed at 2:30 a.m., they continued to the disco on the top deck until 3:25 a.m., when Jennifer felt a bit drunk and wanted to return to the cabin to rest. The walk from the disco to their cabin took less than 5 minutes, so Jennifer left alone while George stayed to continue partying with friends. But then something unexpected happened. On July 5th, the 7th day since the yacht departed, around 7:30 a.m. just after dawn, a 16-year-old female passenger named Emily stepped onto her cabin balcony. She took out her phone to take some photos of the sunrise over the sea. Suddenly, she accidentally saw a bloodstain streaking along the bottom of an overturned lifeboat on the side of the ship. Emily was terrified and immediately called the yacht's security staff to report it. A security officer accompanied her to the location where the bloodstain was found on the side of the ship near the lifeboats. Above some lifeboats was an area where passengers were prohibited from going near, as it was easy to fall into the sea from there. Emily had discovered the bloodstain on the roof of the bottom of the white lifeboat. Above the lifeboat were the cabins on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th floors. The security staff immediately went to the cabins corresponding to the area with the bloodstain. The other cabins were occupied and no one reported any injuries or missing persons, except for cabin number 9062 on the 9th floor, where no one answered the door no matter how much they knocked. The people in that cabin were none other than George and Jennifer. The distance from cabin 9062 to the lifeboat where the bloodstain was found is about 6 meters. Concerned that something might have happened in the cabin, the security staff used a spare card to open cabin 9062. However, no one was inside. Neither George nor Jennifer was there. Where could they have gone so early in the morning? The security staff used their radios to report the situation and requested assistance. They began searching for George and Jennifer throughout the yacht. Soon the staff found Jennifer at the spa center. However, the strange thing was that despite searching every corner of the yacht, they still couldn't find George. Thus, it was likely that the bloodstain on the lifeboat's bottom was George's. And if that was true, he might have fallen into the sea from that area. At that time, the yacht was docked at the port of Kusadasi, Turkey. The yacht management reported the incident to the Turkish police at noon that day. The police boarded the yacht to investigate, taking blood samples from the lifeboat's bottom for examination. They then entered cabin 9062 to take photos and collect evidence. The room was slightly messy and they found one of George's shoes. They also discovered 2 drops of blood on the bedsheet, each very small, about 2 centimeters long. Subsequent tests confirmed that the bloodstains on the lifeboat's bottom and on the bedsheet in the cabin belonged to George. However, this evidence was still not enough for the police to determine whether he had an accident or was murdered. Therefore, a deeper investigation was conducted. The police questioned the last 4 people who were with George in the early hours of that day: Josh Askin, Rusty Kaufman, Zach Rosenberg, and Greg Rosenberg. They stated that after the casino closed at 2:30 a.m., staff escorted them to the elevator and they went to the disco on the 13th floor. At 3:30 a.m., the disco also closed and everyone gradually left. By then, George was extremely drunk and seemed unable to return to the cabin on his own, so the 4 helped him back to his room. Notably, the room key cards could record the exact time of entry. They entered the room at 3:52 a.m., opened the door, and went into cabin 9062. At that time, they found that Jennifer, George's wife, was not there. George, mumbling in his drunken state, said he would go look for her. After that, he changed his shirt, and the 5 of them went to look for Jennifer. They went to the yacht's sun deck, where people usually gathered after the disco closed. However, they did not find her there. At 4:01 a.m., they used the key card to open cabin 9062 again. George used the bathroom in the cabin, lay down on the bed, and the 3 others took off his shoes. He even hugged 1 or 2 of them to show his gratitude and promised to buy them drinks the next day. The 4 claimed that they stayed in cabin 9062 for about 15 more minutes. At around 4:15 a.m., they all left the cabin, leaving George alone in the room. After that, they went to a cabin on a lower floor, ordered some food, and requested room service to deliver it. To the left of George and Jennifer's cabin 9062 was cabin 9060, and to the right was cabin 9064. The occupants of cabin 9060, a middle-aged couple, reported that around 4 a.m. that day they heard what seemed like several people in the neighboring room. They also heard someone speaking very softly and intimately saying, "You're in the room, George." The occupant of cabin 9064, Cleet Hyman, stated that after 4 a.m. the neighboring room was very noisy. There were some people shouting loudly. My wife and I were asleep, but the noise next door woke us up. They seemed to be playing some sort of game and kept insisting someone drink. A few minutes later, the noise moved from the room to the balcony, and I heard 3 or 4 people arguing there for about 2 minutes. Then the argument stopped, and a man said, good night," as if saying goodbye. I got up and went to the door to look towards the next room, and I saw 3 people leaving and walking away. Around 4:05 a.m., I continued to hear 2 people talking in the next room. A while later, I heard furniture moving. I thought they were cleaning up after the party ended, and the sound lasted about 10 minutes. Around 4:30 a.m., the sound of moving furniture continued from the balcony, and I suddenly heard a loud noise as if something heavy had fallen. The sound was so loud and strong that it felt like the area shook. Then the cabin staff came to check because the noise was too loud and many passengers had complained. After they heard the noise, it stopped. Therefore, they didn't knock on cabin 9062's door. Based on Mr. Hyman's testimony, the police speculated that 4:30 a.m. might have been when George fell from the balcony onto the lifeboat's bottom. The last 4 people with George claimed they all left cabin 9062 together, but Mr. Hyman said he only saw 3 people leave. That day, there were conflicting testimonies. Could it be that someone left earlier or later? The police continued to question the 4 people, and they all insisted they left together and could vouch for each other. Since both sides stuck to their stories and the police had no further evidence to prove the 4 were involved in George's disappearance, suspicions about them were temporarily dismissed. One of the 4, Josh, told the police that on that night George and his wife seemed to have had a conflict. The reason was that George saw Jennifer apparently flirting and dancing intimately with a casino manager named Lloyd at the disco. Seeing this, George immediately approached and argued with Jennifer, and she kicked him in the lower abdomen before leaving the disco. Then the casino manager, Lloyd, also left with Jennifer, and no one knew where they went. However, this testimony was not confirmed by anyone else. Except for Josh, no one saw Jennifer leave with the casino manager. The yacht's surveillance cameras showed that at 3:25 a.m., the casino manager, Lloyd, entered his girlfriend's room while George and Jennifer were still at the disco. The police found Josh's testimony strange and thought he might be trying to mislead them. According to Jennifer's account, she did not return to the cabin after leaving the disco. So where did she go? Could George's disappearance be related to her? Jennifer was found around 4:30 a.m. A yacht staff member discovered her drunk and unconscious on the floor in the 9th floor lounge area. The staff helped her to a nearby chair and went to find George to bring her back to their cabin. However, they couldn't find George. At 4:50 a.m., 2 staff members brought Jennifer back to cabin 9062. According to their recollection, they didn't see anyone in the cabin, and the curtains were drawn. This detail suggested that the balcony glass door was closed at that time, because even at night, a huge cruise ship moving through the sea would create wind and make the curtains flutter. After bringing Jennifer back to the cabin, the staff left. Jennifer said after the staff helped her back to the cabin, she slept for about 3 hours. By then, the ship had docked at the port of Kusadasi, Turkey, and some passengers had disembarked to tour. Jennifer also said she didn't see her husband when she woke up, and the room looked normal. She thought he might have been drunk and slept in a friend's cabin, so she didn't think much of it. During this trip, George had gotten drunk many times, so she wasn't too worried. After waking up, she remembered she had scheduled a couples massage at the spa, so she changed clothes and went there. She still thought that when George woke up, he would come find her. Since no further evidence indicated that George was murdered, the captain concluded that George might have gotten drunk that night, sat on the balcony railing, and then accidentally fallen into the sea. Therefore, even if they searched every corner of the yacht, they wouldn't find him. The captain's conclusion was agreed upon by the Turkish police, who considered it an accidental fall into the sea. Afterward, the yacht's cleaning staff entered the couple's cabin 9062 and thoroughly cleaned the room, destroying the crime scene. The yacht staff confirmed that they had received permission from the Turkish authorities before cleaning. After the incident, Jennifer disembarked with the Turkish police to cooperate with the investigation while the yacht continued its scheduled journey. Jennifer was very upset after her husband's disappearance. However, surprisingly, she quickly accepted the conclusion of the Turkish police and the yacht management about the incident. Jennifer accepted the conclusion that her husband had been drunk and accidentally fallen into the sea. She stayed in Turkey for only one day and then flew back to the USA the next day. This action greatly displeased George's family. George's parents questioned why Jennifer didn't stay in Turkey to continue searching for her husband and instead rush back to the USA the next day. This made them feel that Jennifer's behavior was very unusual and suspicious. They believed she had betrayed her husband, as Josh had mentioned earlier that Jennifer disappeared with Lloyd for hours. They were convinced that George did not have an accident but that someone had intentionally killed him. If it was an accident, it couldn't explain the bloodstains on the bedsheet in the cabin. Furthermore, there were witnesses who heard fierce arguing from the cabin. The testimonies of the 4 friends who were with George did not match the description of the neighbor next door. George's family felt that there was something suspicious about the incident. In July 2005, 24 days after the incident, the FBI announced they were investigating the case. Although the incident occurred abroad, since George was a USA citizen and some evidence suggested he might not have died accidentally, the FBI got involved. Jennifer and the 4 friends who took George back to his room were all USA citizens. Therefore, the FBI approached them and they agreed to take the FBI psychological expert's lie detector test. The FBI's lie detector test is very scientific and rigorous. Unless specially trained ordinary people could hardly pass the test if they lied. Surprisingly, all 5 passed the FBI's lie detector test, meaning they told the truth and did not lie. Nevertheless, Jennifer's actions still caused dissatisfaction because many signs indicated that her husband might have been murdered, but she quickly believed he had an accident. In June 2006, Jennifer agreed to accept a $1.1 million compensation from Royal Caribbean. Both parties reached an agreement and Jennifer publicly declared that her husband had died in an accident. Meanwhile, George's family asserted that the authorities had not done their best and had overlooked many details. George's family did not agree with the settlement and were very angry with Jennifer's attitude. They were convinced their son had not had an accident and were determined to investigate to the end. George's parents offered a $100,000 reward for more clues. They invited Dr. Lee Cheng-Yu, a renowned forensic expert from Connecticut, to participate in the investigation of the case. After studying the details of the incident and reviewing the information, Dr. Lee found many suspicious points and agreed to assist in the investigation. Dr. Lee's team contacted the Royal Caribbean Cruise Company and received permission to board the Radiance of the Seas to examine the scene. They went to cabin 9062, where George had stayed, and after observing the interior, Dr. Lee immediately wanted to conduct a simulation experiment with a dummy weighing the same as George to better understand how he might have fallen into the sea. However, the cruise company denied this request, fearing negative impacts on the company's image. After the incident, the cruise staff had thoroughly cleaned the cabin and related areas, completely destroying the crime scene. Therefore, although Dr. Lee conducted an on-site survey, it was too late to find any valuable clues at the scene. After the incident, some TV shows interviewed Jennifer, George's wife. They pointed out many suspicious points in George's disappearance. However, Jennifer still insisted that her husband's death was an accident, which greatly displeased George's family, but they could do nothing about it. In October 2009, 4 years after George's disappearance, Jennifer began a new life. She found a new boyfriend, a financial advisor, and they quickly married and had 2 daughters. The mysterious disappearance of George on the cruise ship raised safety concerns among the public. In 2013, a USA senator proposed a bill to protect cruise ship passengers, ensuring their maximum rights and increasing transparency in handling incidents on cruise ships. Over time, George's family remained committed to investigating the case, believing that one day the truth would come to light. Unfortunately, to this day, the case is still under investigation with no official results. George's close friends were suspected and wiretapped for 6 months, but the police could not find enough evidence to convict them. In 2019, one of George's 4 friends was convicted and imprisoned. They revealed that George's death might have been a murder. The police suspect that George might have been killed to silence him, but there is no clear evidence to confirm this. Did George accidentally fall into the sea, or did someone intentionally harm him? The truth might remain deep beneath the ocean, just like George's case might never be revealed. What do you think about these speculations? In early 2021, in the capital Manila, Philippines, a case occurred that caused a stir in public opinion. The story revolves around a beautiful and tall flight attendant named Christine Angelica Dacera, who celebrated New Year's Eve with 11 men in a wild night. However, that night, Dacera mysteriously passed away while in the bathtub, making the 11 men present the prime suspects. Christine Angelica Dacera was born on April 13, 1997 in General Santos, Philippines. She has 4 siblings and is the second child in the family. From a young age, Dacera had a beautiful appearance and was always praised by the neighbors. She was a well-behaved and hardworking student, becoming a role model for other students. After graduating from high school, Dacera studied at the University of Mindanao in the Philippines. In addition to her charming appearance, Dacera also had a cheerful personality and often shared her life on social media. She was also very active in participating in beauty pageants, modeling and dancing, and achieved many outstanding achievements. In 2017, Dacera participated in the Miss Universe Philippines and won the title of first runner-up. After that, she continued to work in the modeling and beauty industry, but as a newcomer, she had not yet established a big name. Finally, Dacera shifted her career to become a flight attendant, a job that many girls dream of. On New Year's Eve 2021, she gathered with 11 men to celebrate, but the story ended unexpectedly and mysteriously when Dacera was found dead in the bathtub, making the people present that night immediately become the prime suspects of the police. With her self-confidence and excellence, she successfully passed the selection process and became a flight attendant for Philippine Airlines. In 2019, for the convenience of her work, she moved to live in Manila, the capital of the Philippines. After becoming a flight attendant, Dacera's life became very happy, and she often shared beautiful photos of herself on social media. With her tall, beautiful, and sweet appearance, she quickly attracted more than 160,000 followers and also became a small celebrity on social media. However, on December 28, 2020, Dacera posted a photo with the status of her last flight of the year. Little did she know that would be the last flight of her life. On December 31, 2020, while everyone was preparing to welcome the new year, she had planned to invite a few friends to celebrate New Year's Eve at the 4-star City Garden Hotel in Makati City. Coincidentally, 3 friends named Rommel Galido, Gregorio Guzman, and John de la Serna also invited her to join their party in room 2209 of this hotel. Initially, the party only had 4 participants, but Dacera's 3 friends also invited 8 other people from room 2207 whom she did not know. So in total, the party had 11 men and only Dacera as the sole woman. You can imagine how chaotic a party with 11 men and only 1 woman would be. All 12 people drank happily until almost dawn. After a long night, they all fell asleep until 10 a.m. and Galido was the first to wake up. When he went into the bathroom, he saw Dacera lying in the bathtub. Galido thought that Dacera had just fallen asleep there because she was too drunk the night before, so instead of waking her up, he covered her with a blanket and went back to bed. When Galido woke up again at noon, he went back to the bathroom to check if Dacera had woken up. When he entered through the door, he saw that Dacera's skin tone seemed pale and sallow. Feeling that something was off, he immediately went to check if Dacera was still breathing. However, he was instantly stunned to find that Dacera had passed away, after which he quickly called his friends Guman and Serna to come and assist. The 3 of them were all in a state of panic and tried to use artificial respiration methods to revive her, but to no avail. They then, along with the hotel staff, took her to Makati Hospital, where the doctor concluded that Dacera had already died before being brought to the hospital, and the cause of death was a ruptured aorta. The autopsy results also confirmed the doctor's assessment of the cause of death. However, they also found numerous bruises, scars, and abrasions on her body. Moreover, the abrasions and tears in the genital area further suggested that Dacera might have been seriously assaulted prior to her death. The Makati City Police Chief, Harold Depositar, concluded that this was a case where all 11 men who were with her could be involved, and they have all become suspects. Investigators also found traces of semen in Dacera's body, which is material evidence confirming the nature of the case. Specifically, the police have arrested 3 of the 11 suspected individuals, while the other 8 are still being pursued. The Philippine police chief has demanded that these 8 people surrender within 72 hours, or else they will face serious consequences. News of the case has caused a public uproar in the Philippines, as a female flight attendant has died after a wild night with 11 men. Many have condemned the actions of this group of 11 and hope the police will mete out strict punishment to those responsible for this tragic incident. However, the subsequent developments have surprised many people as the 3 suspects arrested afterward have continuously claimed their innocence and asserted that they are simply gay men with no intention to harm Dacera. They admitted that the group of 11 people, including 8 who are now fugitives, are all gay men who are only interested in men and have no interest in women. Furthermore, they claim that the incident occurred solely due to excessive alcohol consumption and they had no intention to harm anyone. This new information has completely changed the direction of the case. At the time, many people posted on social media about this unexpected twist, stating that the suspects are just normal gay men with no criminal records. The families of the 11 suspects have also started to voice their doubts about the police's ability to resolve the case. They argued that the police had hastily drawn conclusions without conducting a thorough investigation, which is unreasonable. The police were also puzzled by the presence of so many homosexual individuals and were uncertain whether the case had been misjudged. Upon re-examining the issue, it can be seen that the police investigation had some flaws and inconsistencies. Firstly, the police had announced the presence of seminal fluid in the victim's body, but they had not yet compared it with the DNA of the suspects before hastily reaching a conclusion. Although the forensic report could prove that the victim had injuries on her body, they could not determine the manner in which these injuries were inflicted. However, the footage from the hotel shows that the victim was behaving actively in rooms 2207 and 2209, and she appeared comfortable and showed no signs of coercion. At 11:38 p.m. on December 31st, Dacera was seen holding a glass of alcohol and chasing 2 men from the room 2207 to room 2209, while also calling her mother to say that she was having a wonderful New Year's Eve at the hotel. At 2:50 a.m., Dacera was seen leaving room 2209 in a very happy state, accompanied by a man who was none other than Guzman. This man then took Dacera to the door of room 2209 and continuously pressed the doorbell and knocked on the door. From these actions, it can be inferred that this man may have been one of the 3 friends of the victim. Looking at the evidence, it appears that the police investigation had some oversights and contradictions, causing the police to hastily draw conclusions without sufficient evidence. The families of the suspects expressing doubt also seems to have a valid basis. At 4:13 a.m., a woman was carried into a room in an intoxicated and seemingly stiff state by a man. Later, at 6:23 a.m., security cameras recorded Dacera in a drunken state being taken to room 2209 by a friend named Guzman. In addition to the security footage, there is another photo taken by Dacera's friend before her passing, showing her sitting in front of a toilet bowl in a drunken state, making a V sign with her fingers. After the surveillance video was released, many people trusted Dacera's friends as they were continuously concerned and took care to bring her back to the room. They did not see any signs of criminal behavior. Based on these findings, the police released the 3 suspected individuals and changed their tone, saying the samples taken from the crime scene may have been contaminated due to the embalming process before the autopsy. The police concluded that Dacera's death was due to natural causes and not related to the 11 men. This surprised many Filipinos who had just heard the police accusing and hunting for the suspects, only to declare them all innocent in an instant. After the information was released, many people started criticizing the police's ineffectiveness. Some even suspected collusion between the Philippines police and the 11 suspects, as the suspects were known to be from wealthy families. Many believe their families used money and connections to put pressure on the police. The public also put pressure on the police and government, demanding a thorough reinvestigation and no tolerance for corruption. The Dacera family has had to go through a horrifying nightmare. They believe their daughter was drugged and abused, as there were many serious injuries on her body. Although she has been buried, they are still determined to find the truth. Dacera's mother has expressed her readiness to exhume her daughter's body to conduct further tests if necessary. The family has also accused the police of inaccurate and contradictory reports, as well as the medical examination results. According to the Dacera family, the death certificate stating that the body had been embalmed earlier is inaccurate. They believe the police handled the case too carelessly and negligently, so they have filed a lawsuit. Dacera's mother even called on the President of the Philippines to intervene and demand justice for her daughter. After a thorough investigation, the National Bureau of Investigation of the Philippines organized a second autopsy and announced the final forensic results. The report stated that Dacera's heart rate was up to 500 G, while a normal person's is only about 300 G, and signs of internal bleeding were also found in her kidneys. The cause of death was determined to be a ruptured aorta, so the possibility of murder was ruled out, and it is possible that Dacera drank too much alcohol and was overly excited, leading to high blood pressure in the above condition. The police also found some white powdery substance in Dacera's room, but after testing it turned out to be just salt, not drugs. They also tested the 11 suspects separately but did not find anything unusual. The bruises on Dacera's body may have been caused by her and her friends bumping into each other while drunk, and during the process of taking her to the hospital, as the hotel provided a wheelchair because she could not walk, so she may have been scratched. However, the Dacera family is still adamant about seeking justice for their poor daughter. On April 23, 2021, the police released a 19-page inspection report on Dacera's death. The report stated that there was insufficient evidence to prove this was a homicide case. Dacera's friends performed CPR and sought help from the hotel as soon as she was found, and they also had no motive to commit a crime. Finally, the police officially dismissed the charges against the 11 defendants due to lack of evidence, and the case was closed. Although the case has officially been closed, the internet public opinion has not stopped, and Dacera's family continues to accuse the 11 men of committing a crime and making false statements. 5 of the 11 families have also filed complaints against the Dacera family for falsely accusing innocent people and defaming them on social media. More than a year after Dacera's death, on February 7, 2022, the police dismissed all charges related to Dacera's death and informed the public that the case had been closed. The reason for the 180-degree change in the case was that the person in charge of the case, Harold Depositar, immediately issued an arbitrary statement without conducting a thorough investigation, stating that it was a murder case with the 11 men as the perpetrators. In addition, the autopsy report provided by the examiner was also not rigorous and accurate, and both of these individuals were subsequently dismissed. Furthermore, the incident occurred during the pandemic period when the initial policy stipulated that each room could only have 2 people, but the City Garden Hotel allowed the group of people to hold a party. As a result, the hotel was also fined with a 6-month business suspension and a 10,000 peso idle payment. It is noteworthy that when reading the related articles, most people criticized what happened. Even though Dacera's lifestyle may not have been appropriate, that does not justify her death. This case can be used as a warning for people to be more careful, and we should not blame the victim or those who do not value themselves for their death. What are your thoughts on this situation today? Please leave a comment below so we can discuss together, and if this story has left an impression on you, please like and subscribe to support us. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.